Good morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Sunday, June 15th, Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the dads. And looking at our satellite imagery, you can see some clouds over parts of Idaho, moving across the Sierra front. And you see a couple of waves of low pressure in the Pacific, which will be approaching the west coast, eventually giving us a little bit of wind as we go into tomorrow and perhaps later in the week. Looking at our impact map, hot and dry across just about all areas today. And on top of that heat and dryness, we also have areas of wind across a belt here across the central Great Basin from the Sierra front all the way to the Colorado border. Also across eastern Idaho and western Wyoming. Feels kind of marginal up north there, except for parts of southern Wyoming where things have dried out. We do have currently large fire activity, but the real big concern is tomorrow. Cold front pushes through the region. Strong winds, especially this darker brown here. We could see wind gusts over 50 miles an hour across parts of Ely's area into parts of southern Utah. So keep that in mind. We have high risk in effect for those days. The Weather Service has red flag warnings out. At the same time, there'll be a few spotty showers of somewhat higher humidity way up into the central Idaho mountains. The winds tend to diminish. There'll be some belt areas, little pockets of gusts in the 20s approaching 30 miles an hour where you see the orange. Still some clouds, maybe some isolated showers in the far northeastern portions of the geographic area. Past 24 hours, no lightning across the region. Actually, one little strike I see here right over southwest Wyoming. Otherwise, mostly dry, precip almost non-existent. Current fire activity, new fire starts in the red, recent fires in the yellow. The larger the circles, the larger the fires. See some of our large fire activity recently here in southern Utah, southern or southwest Wyoming, and also across Ely's area in Nevada. So things are picking up. We're still at PL1 right now. We'll monitor that day to day. Precipitation over the past 7 days has been generally below normal, and you can see these darker areas in red, close to 0 to 5% of normal, because nothing from nothing is nothing. Some pockets of showers here across the central Idaho mountains. Has maybe about 6-7 days ago, which is kind of moderated fuels a little bit up there. The ERC point map shows our most critical fuels. There's a belt across central areas where we see a lot of these reds, which are approaching the 90th percentile or higher. Even a purple here, 97th percentile. You can see these other areas down south in the yellow and orange. Those are the 70th to maybe close to the 80th percentile, and the upward looking vector arrows indicate that those ERCs are increasing from a day ago, and that'll probably be the trend for the next several days with the hot and dry weather. Things have modified up north a little bit, but they'll be drying out as well. 100-hour fuels, the areas in the gold, darker gold, are mid to upper single digits, and that can support large fire, especially if there's wind. And we're starting to see little pink pockets here. Those are 100-hour fuels at or below 5%, which is basically as dry as they get. So looking at the upper level map here on the left for today, pretty strong winds aloft. You see these upper level winds about 40 knots. Dry air mass given by this tannish shade through here. You see our 7 days, kind of a mix of moderate risk and very dry conditions in the brown. Most other areas are in a yellow and still recovering from the recent moisture up in Idaho. You can see the winds. Gustiest winds across parts of eastern Idaho, western Wyoming, as well as across central areas. Areas in the pink will be gusts into the mid-30s, and you can overlay that with the relative humidity, and you can see single digits across a good portion of the southern half of our region, and then mid to upper teens further north. For tomorrow, low pressure trough coming in, and there'll be coolness and some moisture across the Pacific Northwest and encroaching into far western portions of our Idaho zones. But as usual, ahead of the front, that strong wind field will be accompanied by low humidity. We've issued high risk for a combination of wind, low humidity, and marginally or critically dry fuels, where you see the areas in the orange. And you can see that better on the wind map. You can see where our strongest winds are. And not only do we see the purples, when you see these brownish shades, you see that our peak gusts could exceed somewhere into the 50, 55 mile an hour range. So definitely strong winds. Looks like it's mostly south of the I-80 corridor at this point. And you see those critically low humidities with those very strong winds. So tomorrow could be a very, very busy day in those areas. Looks like the wind starts slackening off on Tuesday. A weak ridge of high pressure tries to build in. The trough moves out into the Colorado Rockies. So we'll start warming up. Dry air mass given by this tannish shade. Here's our 7-day PSA map. We have no high risk. The winds diminish a bit coming out of the northwest. So in parts of the Snake River Plain, we could see gusts in the 25 to 30 mile an hour range. Same in the lee of the Wasatch and also across western Wyoming. Not quite critical, but again, with these low humidities, if we do get a large fire breakout the day before, this would still push the fire quite a bit. So we'll have to keep that in mind. Otherwise, not much precipitation except for some spotty showers well up in the central Idaho mountains. And even those will be a few hundredths of an inch and probably hit and miss. Now, going towards midweek onwards, kind of a broad area of high pressure starts developing across the four corners and building across all areas. Will be drying out. Could be locally breezy up in Idaho. And we're watching this trough of low pressure starting to carve out in response to this low pressure area dropping down from the north. This will be Thursday. This will be Friday, and you see the winds increasing between Thursday and Friday, quite strong in those areas. And I should backtrack. We did issue high risk for winds and low humidity on Thursday. Timing could be off a little bit. This could be Thursday or it could be Friday with the winds. We'll have to wait and see on the timing. But towards the end of the week, western areas will definitely see an increase in wind, which could push itself further eastwards in time. We've left high risk out for Friday now. The models can sometimes change quite a bit 5 or 6 days down the road. But it looks like by Saturday, trough low pressure deepens pretty good, enough to create maybe some showers and much cooler temperatures in the northern half of the region. But still, there'll be a southern portion of our area that stays very dry, very windy. Arizona has high risk for that. As we get closer to it, we may have to add some of that high risk for the southern areas as well. We'll have a better idea by tomorrow or Tuesday. 7-day precip totals, other than those spotty showers up in Idaho, not much at all. The monsoon still being kept well at bay down in Mexico. And the 8 to 14, the outlook shows somewhat cooler than normal temperatures in the north, near normal elsewhere. Now keep in mind, normal for late June is pretty warm. I would focus more on this drier than normal condition for where it'll be seasonally warm and quite dry. But there could be a belt of showers in our far northern areas in the Idaho mountains, and there could be some monsoonal activity that approaches our area but stays mainly to the south. This concludes our briefing. We've just begun 7-day operations, so we'll be broadcasting this 7 days a week now through the end of fire season. Have a great day.